We are now streaming.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the November 14th meeting of the Village of New Paltz Planning Board. I am going to be standing in for Chair John Linton tonight. We have a fairly full agenda, starting with some administrative business. Then we have a couple public comments, and then 5 application reviews. So I'd like to begin by getting the minutes from the last meeting, the November 1st meeting approved. Did everyone get a chance to look at those?
Yep.
Okay. Could I get a motion to approve those minutes?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next up, do we have any updates from the village board, or Will Murray here tonight? Okay. Rich, were you going to?
No, I didn't
Go
attend
through
the
it?
meeting,
Okay.
and I don't know how, I don't know what, how extensive the presentation was from the hotel, but it's recorded. So
Okay.
it might be something we can all record and watch, and then it wasn't evident on the agenda that it was a feature of the meeting. It might have just been a part of public comment.
I see. Is there anyone here from the Ulster County Planning Board or the Environmental Policy Board that wants to give an update? Okay. Great. Moving on to the public comments. So there are 3 separate right. So first, I'd like to start out with the general public comment. If anybody is here to make a comment in general, not about one of the 3 projects that are specifically up for a public hearing tonight, can we do so now? Okay. Seeing none, we'll leave the public comment open in case anybody online has comments. We can look at those at the end of the meeting. So I'd like to move on to the, yes, Autumn. Sure, yes.
Yeah, I should lower my hand because I'm here for the public hearing. So thanks, I'll lower my hand.
Great,
Thank you.
thank you. In that case, I'd like to move on to the public hearing. And the first public hearing we have tonight is for PB 22-16, 65 Huguenot Street. Do I need a motion to open? Could I get a motion to open the public hearing for PB 22-16?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Is anyone here to speak to 22-16, 65 Huguenot Street?
Oh, I'm here.
Yes. Would you wish to? Do you wish to?
The applicant.
Oh, okay. Anything you'd wish to say about your own application?
Oh, well, thank you for reviewing it. We had it approved and then COVID came along and we didn't move the little building down there. So this is the same application. The only difference is we're not going to have a concrete base to put it on, just gravel.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Anyone else online? No, I don't think so. Okay. Could I get a motion to close the public hearing for PB 22-16?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to PB 22-17, 2 Academy Street. Is anyone here to comment on 2 Academy Street? No. Okay, seeing none, could I get a motion to close the public hearing for PB 2217?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Finally, we have PB 21-1314, 54 South Manheim Street. Since I'm sure there are a number of you here to speak about that, we've asked that everyone sign in on the sign-up sheet that's going around. And please limit your public comment to 3 minutes. So, is there anyone, actually, where is the sign-up sheet? I'll just call the names off of. Great, I'll just go in order then. Ellen Rocco, would you like to make a comment? Anywhere you feel like, if you'd like to stand.
This is the microphone, maybe the podium is right.
Yeah.
Is there a microphone at the podium?
Only the one on the table.
Ellen, you can just be near, yes, that's,
Just move it to the corner there.
that's your mic.
And I want to express my enormous support for this project. I think it's something that we really need in the village. And I'm just so impressed with Mr. Leibel and his commitment to this and his flexibility and his willingness to do everything he can to make it acceptable to the community. I hope that you're smart enough to take full advantage. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Thomas Rocco.
I have similar sentiments. I know that the planning board is committed to act in accord with the laws and regulations that govern projects in the village, and that we will do what needs to be done to see that that's the case. At the same time, I know that you're committed to accomplishing what needs to be done to serve the community. And I believe that affordable housing is one of the most significant of those objectives that the community has. And this is the largest effort to provide affordable housing for senior citizens in recent times. So I hope that you will be open to the needs that the developer has to get this done in a timely way, and that we'll see very soon in the future affordable housing for senior citizens in the center of the village on Manheim. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Susan Denton.
Hello.
Without the support and interest of communities and public funds, affordable housing just wouldn't happen. It couldn't. As a member of the Ulster Activist Housing Committee, I was able to meet many times with Mr. Leibel, the owner developer, as he apprised us of the progress of the Manheim Muse LLC senior housing project as it moved through the village process. Throughout this process, we were impressed with how rigorous and thorough it is. As I watched, I also learned, I came to many Zoom meetings, you may have seen my screen, what it takes in this climate to persevere by developers who are genuinely interested in such a complex need. I have observed that all parties are in this for the right reasons, which are to protect the village interests and to address the pressing need for reasonably priced housing that seniors can afford and make a viable dent in the need for this housing. The rising cost of housing has seriously affected so many members of the community According to the Ulster County Housing Study that was released 2 years ago, seniors are very cost-burdened by housing expenses. One major other expense in their life could lead to a cascade which forces them to carefully choose which basic needs they meet. Also, as our recent experience of the pandemic has shown, housing costs are rising even faster than inflation. Please give this project the approvals it needs tonight to be able to submit for funding in the current New York State round of funding program. We want to make this a reality. Time is short and the application has to go in by December 6th. Thank you.
Thank you. Jackie Brownstein?
Yes, correct. Good evening. I'm speaking on behalf of Ulster activists, UAC. At our Sunday, November 13th, 2022 general membership meeting, UAC voted to enthusiastically support the development of the senior housing apartments known as Mannheim Mews. Our Affordable and Low-Income Housing Committee has been involved in the development of the plan from its outset. The Leibolds had kept us abreast of the plans as the project moved forward, asking for input along the way. It was an excellent model of how citizens can be engaged in the planning of affordable housing at every step of the progress. And I hope it continues with other developers as they're looking at affordable housing. According to the 2021 Ulster County Housing Plan, Ulster County's population is getting older. I'm here to attest to that. I've lived in New Paltz for almost 55 years. It's a great community, and I want to be here for the rest of my life. 30% of all renters spend more than half of their income on housing costs, making them severely cost-burdened by rent. We are in dire need of affordable senior housing. Mannheim Mews will provide critically needed housing units for our area. In all respects, this project is designed to fit that need in costs, in design, in energy efficiency, and in meeting the rigorous review requirements set by the village. UAC urges you to move this project forward without delay. The need for this housing is now, and seniors can't afford to wait any longer. Thank you.
Thank you. Tom Denton?
Yes. I'm pleased to be here tonight and to see a full house, and I will read because it'll make me quicker. As a member of the UAC Housing Committee, also, I followed the development of the Mannheim Mews project for nearly 2 years. We've observed a careful, transparent process in which Mr. Leibold has responded to all requests from village officials to explain, modify, and re-envision these senior apartments. An original plan that outlined just over 30 apartments now offers over 50 to serve a desperate need in our community, and in doing so expanded the possibilities of increased state aid, which is so vital. Our committee believes Mr. Leibold's interest in affordable housing for low-income seniors is sincere and feasible. The plan before the board tonight is evidence of that. I urge the board to act on this project tonight so that it can move to the state for consideration in this year's round of funding. December 6th is that target. Seniors are stressed by housing costs, and the New Paltz community will benefit, I think, for many years from now. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I don't see anyone else here on the sign-up sheet who indicated they'd like to speak, but if someone did not sign up yet and wishes to speak.
Hands that are raised?
We're going to stay in the room first and then we'll go online. So yes, sir, if you'd like to.
Yeah, my name's Tom Jello. I'm a citizen resident of New Paltz. Also a member of UAC. I'll be very brief. The need for this project is dire and well documented. The proposal is sound and serious. Your review has been thorough and the developer has been responsive. So your approval tonight is how the project can become a reality. Please do so.
Thank you. Would anyone else here in the room like to speak? Okay, if not, then we can go to some of the people online. Can't really read the screen, Autumn, but if you'd like to read off.
Kitty Brown was the first hand up.
Hi there. I'm not sure if everybody online knows to raise their hand, to use the raised hand symbol. I see a lot of people here. Anyway, thank you for this opportunity to address the Village Planning Board. I'm also a member of the Ulster Activists Affordable Housing Committee and have been following the Mannheim Muse project with great excitement. I read the draft minutes of your November 1st meeting concerning this project. And that's for proof that the planning board has been rigorous in its process and the applicant has been responsive on every question. This project meets a critical need for our most vulnerable population. The housing shortage was acute before the pandemic. The influx of new money has put housing out of reach for many seniors in our community. One extraordinary thing about this project is that it is exempt from the village 10% affordable housing law because it is funded in accordance with the standards of a federal or state affordable housing program and subject to a verifiable regulatory compliance agreement to ensure affordability. Please grant this project your approval tonight. It is a model of responsible planning. P.S. I especially love this note in your minutes. The site plan has not changed significantly except for a change to the path to save a tree. Well done. Thanks.
Thank you.
Next on the list is Liz Lee.
Good evening. I am also a member of Ulster Activists, and I wanted to share that most of us here are grandparents. Without affordable housing, this has an impact on young families living in New Paltz because it's the grandparents who provide daycare assistance to young families. And this would mean that the seniors would have to move to another state, another county to afford to live in New Paltz. So, and that would impact the young families who are raising children in our community. So I hope that the planning board would consider approving the Mannheim Muse to provide affordable housing for seniors. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Meg.
Next we have Maggie Beebe.
Did you say Maggie Veve? Okay. Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Maggie Veve, and I have been living in the community for pretty much since I was 7. And I've seen the changes, and because of the cost of housing, my own parents really had to move away. It got to a point where they couldn't stay in the area. I don't want to be a victim of that situation. I don't want my children to be worrying about where I'm going to be moving to, because it really is a problem, as you know. And it's just a wonderful thing that I've had the opportunity to working with Ulster Activists, because I'm a member of Ulster Activists, to hear the regular reporting they've given us
about this project. And I'm pretty convinced that it'll be a benefit to grandchildren, my children, and myself. And even if it's not directly beneficial to me, I think it'll be beneficial to friends of mine. And hopefully we can keep this community really a mixed community of people who have some, have more, and have a lot. And affordable housing means we can have that mixture of economic stratification in our community. And it really does bring a powerful community characteristic with this 51 units I think it's 51 units is really substantial. So it's wonderful. And I strongly support this myself too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next we have Carol and Paul Auer, who also submitted a letter in advance.
I'm going to be very brief. As a member of UACT, I have been following this and I support it. We moved here relatively recently and love the diversity and the generosity of this town. And I think this would add to keeping it that way. That's all.
Thanks.
And Carol Nolan has agenda.
Hello, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I am also a member of Ulster Activists. I am very fortunate to still be living in the home that my husband and I bought in 1986 in this community. And we will be staying in this community. I can foresee a time when one of us might not be able to be staying in this home. And I believe that whether that turns out to affect us directly or not, that the idea of having affordable senior housing in the community is essential to a well-balanced, vibrant community like we have. So I urge the support of the project. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Edgar Rodriguez has stand up.
Can I just speak?
Yep.
Okay. Good evening, Edgar Rodriguez from Concerned Parents of New Paltz. I also had the experience that my parents lived with me and my family in a small house, and that I was not able to get them housing local here in New Paltz. So I'm extremely happy hearing of this project that is so critical, particularly for folks with low income. I urge the planning board to continue this effort and other efforts to help with the housing situation in the village and in the town. I ask that you also consider relaxing some of the rules on accessory apartments. There are senior citizens that have properties that they can quickly convert and provide housing for others. So I urge that. So congratulations on what I think will be a critical project for our seniors and right across the campus. Okay, I think that is so important that folks can just walk across the street and have an entire world available to them with the library, the museum, and all the cultural political activities that go on at SUNY New Paltz. So thank you.
Thank you. And I do believe the village board passed some new zoning about accessory apartments not that long ago. I think, we are encouraging them now. There's separate zoning rules for accessory apartments.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else online that would like to speak about the Mannheim Muse project? All right. In that case, I would like to get a motion to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Well, thank you everyone for participating and making comments. I'd like to move on to the application review then. We are going to start with TB 2113, Mannheim Muse. Could we have the applicants come up, please? This is the person who's gonna go.
Nicest public hearing I've ever.
So I was wondering if you could just walk us through some of the any changes that have been made since the last meeting.
Sure. There aren't too many. There's a few issues with the planning board attorney, with Ashley. It was a minor thing. So we needed one more parking space. So we added that, and that kind of had a snowball effect. We had to change the landscaping and utility plans. We updated all that, added the one space. We worked on the language on a condition regarding the affordable housing and the verifiable compliance agreement. And we came to, and then Ashley put that language in the resolution. We updated the bulk table per Ashley's comment. And we updated the special use narrative regarding all the different services that are going to be provided for seniors and having access for them. Okay. And then a couple other minor things. We realized that the last building renderings that the planning board saw, we went to the ZBA right after that, and they changed a little bit. And then I just didn't. I forgot to resend that to the board, so I sent it. It's not very different.
It's not the senior.
So we submitted that. And then also we added vehicle charging stations. So
We had 3, but if you read the stretch code, they required 5. And then we looked at practically where do you place them so the plows don't grab them. We wanted one by a handicap parking spot, so that if a handicapped person had an electric car, they could still utilize the handicap spot and have a charger there. And the stretch code wants them dispersed throughout the parking lot, so we spread them out across the parking areas in a way that we put them on the corner of the island so the plows wouldn't accidentally grab them. And then we put 2 back here side by side. So
right up the gate.
I'm gonna ask, this is a plan that we got.
that's the only,
This
yeah,
is the 3/18 dated one.
that's different. That was the rendering.
This is the February dated one.
No, this we're just talking about the charging station.
Charging
Okay.
stations.
So we wanted to just show you where there's more of them and they moved a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. If you want to talk the rendering,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is
right
yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and then more generally, I just wanted to make sure that all the changes you described are the evidenced in the updated plans that are referenced in the resolution.
Yeah, I know Ashley worked on that and we checked that.
And is that the February dated or the March dated ones?
The March ones, and I have them if you want to look. I submitted them, but I also have copies. It's hard to tell the difference.
It is, that's why, and I
Yeah.
looked, and this is an even older one. Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt, I just wanted to make sure that these are all working from the same document.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Would non-electric vehicles be allowed to park in the spaces? Because I can't imagine someone having an electric car and also being in affordable housing. I'm sure it's possible, but not likely. I would guess.
I just do what the stretch code says.
Okay.
It doesn't say that they have to be only for EVs.
Good.
Normally, we make sure that if residents have an electric car, they have then we'll start posting EV only tags. Believe it or not, I have a project, the first one we put electric chargers in up in Johnson City, New York, which is in the sticks, and I have at 109 units, 2 electric cars. One by a woman whose daughter bought her the car,
Okay.
and one by an individual who bought a Nissan Leaf because they're locals and they just needed a car to go 100 miles. And they picked up a used one, and we allow them to charge for free because it's a solar offset. So we can't, we don't want to, any of the residents can charge for free if they're an outside user who just is driving by and needs a place to charge, then they'll have a code and they'll have to pay something to charge. Unless it's like a neighbor. If it's a neighbor and they come to us, then we'll work something out. But we get strangers who are just driving through and need a place to charge. And there's a simple app where they pay a few dollars and can charge the car if they need.
Sounds good. Can we see the updated renderings? I didn't actually go back and see what's on.
This is the one that the board saw in February.
Right. Yeah.
And then we went to the ZBA and got this approved. And the main difference is those triangular, I describe it better than me. So that architectural
larger,
detail.
Yeah, group table. They liked the 2. They wanted to break the line up with those 2 reverse tables.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And they gave us relief for the higher elements so they could have that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was trying to make it, improve it.
And this shows what it would look like with the HVAC on the roof.
Yes.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
we
We
ended
don't
up,
see it.
that was the idea of doing the curb so you don't see any of the equipment there.
Yeah. Okay.
We're trying to, so time goes on. They now make equipment where the compressors are in the units. So when we get to build this, we might not need to put compressors even on the roof, which would be great because then we can pick up solar, which will further offset the load. So, one way or the other, that's what we're looking at.
Okay. So the board doesn't have any other questions or concerns about the changes to the site plan or the renderings? And I guess you just confirmed that the 318 elevation on the draft resolution is the correct one, right? So I just want to look at the comments from Dennis Larios. Are these, did you get a printout of those, or is that online?
Yeah, there's a printout. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, so it seems like the village engineer didn't have any issues with it. He had a couple recommended conditions of approval, which I believe have been added to the document already. But
Yeah, I think they're in the resolution.
yeah, so I won't read these out because they're going to be in the resolution. But let's do that. And okay, so I guess then we will go into the draft resolution. Which I have here somewhere.
Just noting it's like a 15 or more page resolution that want to just read the
Highlighter.
special conditions.
Yeah, I am not going to go through all of the application summary or general conditions or the history of our process. But I would like to read the special conditions here.
Yeah, and confirming that the
Public hearing.
recommended conditions in the engineer's memo are.
Mhm. So. So resolution of approval. Now therefore, the planning board of the Village of New Paltz, New York hereby resolves to issue preliminary and final subdivision approval, site plan and special user permit approval to the application of Mannheim Muse LLC, but only as specifically set forth on the plans as identified above or as subsequently revised in accordance with this resolution and as further conditioned as set forth below. And so granting final subdivision as approval, the planning board hereby waives a public hearing in connection with the final subdivision plat, as the final plat is in substantial agreement with the preliminary plat. Planning board chair is hereby authorized to sign such plans and other documents evidencing this approval only in strict accordance with all the terms and conditions of this resolution of approval. So specific conditions are: this approval is subject to final engineering review of the plans and SWIP. The plans shall not be signed until the receipt of a letter from the village engineer certifying that he has found the plans and SWIP submitted for signature to be in proper order in compliance with his various memoranda and with this resolution. Number 2, prior to signing the subdivision map, the final subdivision map shall comply with Village Code 178-23 to the satisfaction of the village engineer. Number 3, prior to the signing of the plans, the applicant shall satisfy all outstanding items in the memorandum of DTS Provident Design Engineering LLP dated April 29th, 2022 to the satisfaction of DTS. Number 4, prior to the signing of the plans, the applicant shall submit proof of filing with the Ulster County Clerk of a stormwater maintenance easement and agreement in favor of the village and binding on all subsequent landowners served by the stormwater management facility in such form as is acceptable to the village attorney, that provides for the village's access to the facility for purpose of inspecting, correcting, and maintaining the stormwater facilities in accordance with Village Code 165-35B and 165-36. Number 5, prior to the signing of the plan, the applicant shall, I guess it's missing, shall deposit cash payment in lieu of land reservation with the village clerk pursuant to Village Code 212-23J3 in the amount set by the resolution of the Board of Trustees for each of the 51 units, including any applicable credit for the 5 affordable housing units pursuant to Village Code 132-3B. In the event any further development or subdivision of Lot 1 is proposed in the future that involves creating new residential units and contributes to the village's need for public parkland and recreational facilities, such development will be reviewed under Village Code 212-23J and or Village Code 178-19A, and any required recreational land reservations or payments in lieu will be imposed at that time. Number 6, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall submit proof to the building department that a highway work permit, Perm 32 permit, has been issued by the New York State Department of Transportation for all utility work, water, sewer, stormwater in NYS Route 32. Number 7, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall submit proof to the building department that a highway work permit, Perm 33 permit, has been issued by the New York State Department of Transportation for all non-utility work in NYS Route 32, including the proposed entrance driveway. Number 8, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall submit proof to the building department that the Village of New Paltz Public Works permit has been issued for water and sewer connections, stormwater extension and related work, including provision for backflow prevention device in the building. Number 9, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall submit proof to the building department of the village engineer's final approval of the pump station design and pump model. Number 10, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall submit proof to the building department of final approval of the stormwater pollution prevention plan document and issuance of a MS4 acceptance form by the village engineer and village MS4 officer. Number 11, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall submit proof to the building department of filing of the NOI for SPDES general permit with the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. Number 12, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall submit documentation to the building department demonstrating that the senior citizen development will be funded in accordance with the standards of the federal or state affordable housing program and subject to a verifiable regulatory compliance agreement to ensure affordability in accordance with Village Code 132-3C. Such proof may consist of a draft or tentative regularity compliance agreement. Yeah, that should be provided the final executed regulatory compliance agreement is submitted to the building department upon receipt. Such executed regulatory compliance agreement must in any event be submitted prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy for the senior citizen development. To the extent the applicant fails to comply with this condition, the project will not be exempt from the Village of New Paltz affordable housing law, and the applicant shall be required to demonstrate compliance with such law and return to the planning board for an amended approval should any changes to the site plan or this resolution be required to achieve compliance. Number 13, the applicant's design shall include the following elements to meet the New York State stretch code: reduce carbon footprint and provide infrastructure necessary to develop electric vehicle charging stations. A, it shall be an all-electric project with roof-mounted photovoltaic solar panels to offset all common area electric loads. B, total utility costs have been modeled at under $1,000 per year per unit aggregate, including common space. C, energy benchmarking shall be part of ongoing property operations. And D, 5 electric vehicle charging stations shall be installed in the parking area. Number 14, the occupancy for the senior citizen development shall be limited to persons who are 55 years of age or over, unless otherwise permitted under the village code. The applicant shall file all documentation and reports certifying compliance with the age requirements with the building inspector as required by Village Code 212-41K4. Number 15, the amenities provided for the senior citizen development shall be located out of public view with no outside advertising and shall be, missing B there, available only to the residents and employees of the development in accordance with Village Code 212-41K5A. Number 16, maintenance and upkeep of the senior citizen development is an ongoing obligation of the owner. The development shall employ a resident manager on site to ensure that care and maintenance is accomplished on a regular basis in accordance with Village Code 212-41K5D. The resident manager / property manager shall assist with providing residents reasonable access to conveniences and facilities as set forth in the special use permit narrative, including but not limited to coordination with the Ulster County Office of the Aging to provide transportation to medical appointments and shopping trips, assisting with neighbor-to-neighbor transportation through Ulster County Office of the Aging and directly on the property, and assisting residents who are Medicaid eligible for transportation services with scheduling appointments and services. Number 17, the senior citizen development shall be equipped with fire alarms and panic buttons for the safety of the residents as set forth in the applicant's special use permit narrative, including adequate fire alarms to the satisfaction of the building inspector. Number 18, The exterior architectural features of the building shall be consistent with the proposed elevations for Harmony Hall prepared by Coppola Associated, dated March 18th, 2022. Sheet A1, street elevation, front elevation, and the rendering dated March 18th, 2022. Number 19, the applicant shall comply with all recommendations of the Village of New Paltz Historic Preservation Commission set forth in its February 15th, 2022 letter. Number 20, the applicant shall maintain the proposed landscaping buffers in a healthy and vibrant condition to provide visual screening from NYS Route 32 and from the residential properties located to the north and south of the site. Diseased, dying, or withering plants and trees shall be replaced in kind to the satisfaction of the building inspector, weather permitting. Number 21, the privacy fence along the southern edge of the parking area shall be maintained in good repair to provide visual screening from the residential property, ridge apartments, located to the south of the site. Number 22, all conditions attached to the grant of area variance issued by the Village of New Paltz Zoning Board of Appeals for ZB 2203, dated August 9th, 2022, filed in the office of the village clerk on that same date, are made a part of this approval. And this approval is subject to the same as if those conditions were set forth herein at length. Okay, that is all the special conditions. Then there are just some general conditions. So I would like now to get a roll call. Oh, I guess I would like to get a motion to approve this resolution of conditional approval.
Second.
And Autumn, could we get a roll call vote for this, please?
We'll start with Rachel Legatka.
Aye.
Rich Soto.
Aye.
Marcel Karen.
Aye.
Terry Dillon.
Aye.
And Jackie Lecky.
Aye. Okay, so the resolution is adopted.
Hey.
And yeah, I guess John will have to sign that one back. so.
Okay, and the signed resolution is kind of the thing that we need to. Okay. All right, great. Thank you guys so much.
Just those little typos.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Great. Yeah. Hold on. Um, Okay, I'd like to move on now to our second application review. CB 22-16 Huguenot Street. And so, great. I believe this one is pretty straightforward as well, but okay. Were there any questions that the board had about this one?
No.
Nope. Yeah. Okay.
There was a variance, this is the one that had a variance last week from ZBA.
Dated numbers, yep.
So that's completed, that's the only. Yes.
Right. Did have it.
It's that one, Zach. It's that one.
Oh, okay. I see. So if there are no questions or concerns about this one, I will just go through the resolution of approval. There are a few specific conditions. Are there specific conditions? Okay. So now, therefore, it is hereby resolved by the Village of New Paltz Planning Board that the proposed site plan approval for 65 Huguenot Street, SBL 86.33-1-3, to install an accessory shed structure on gravel with concrete piers within the footprint of an existing stone foundation of a previously demolished barn on the subject property, as shown on the site plan dated December 5th, 2019, with the aforementioned modifications, is hereby approved, subject to the following conditions. 1, the village's right to enter upon the property for purpose of inspecting. 2, compliance with the Zoning Board of Appeals resolution of decision ZB 2206 dated November 7th, 2022. And 3, payment of all fees and final site plan as submitted. Could I get a, I guess a resolution to adopt the site plan approval?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. And Autumn, could we get a roll call vote on this resolution also?
Start with Rachel Rebecca.
Aye.
Rick Soto,
Aye.
Catherine.
Aye.
Terry Dolan.
Aye.
Becky Leckie.
Aye. Okay, so this resolution is approved. And once again, John will be back in a few days and we'll be able to sign this and get you the hard copy so you can move forward.
Anything to add, Dina?
Thank you. And it was great to be here to hear about the Mannheim project. How thrilling. And it just feels good to be part of the community, and thank you for letting us zoom in.
Yes, you're welcome. Thanks. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, moving on then to number 3, PB 2117 to Academy Street. So we also have another draft resolution of approval for this. This was another pretty straightforward one. Oh, hi. Is there anything new, any changes before we go through these? Okay. We made the changes suggested last time. Great. So in that case, I will just read the specific conditions. Now, therefore, the planning board of the Village of New Paltz, New York, hereby resolves to issue a site plan approval to the application of Charles Smith, but only as specifically set forth on the plans as identified above, or as subsequently revised in accordance with this resolution, and as further conditioned as set forth below. The planning board chair is hereby authorized to sign such plans and other documents evidencing this approval only in strict accordance with all the terms and conditions of this resolution of approval. Specific conditions. Number 1, prior to the signing of the plans, the site plan shall be revised as follows. Add bulk table showing required and proposed bulk requirements. B, change Prospect Street to Academy Street, and C, state the square footage of the new outdoor deck. And did you say those had already been made? Okay, well, it's all set. And so that is the only specific condition. Anything noted here as well. And so I would like to get a motion to approve the resolution of approval.
Second.
And could we have a roll call vote, please?
Aye.
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 Aye. Great, you are all set in that case. And we should move forward. Okay. So, moving on to PB 22-14, 151 or 115-121 Main Street. It's a change of use. Yes, please.
They were able to complete the zoning requirements. They had a question that didn't get resolved, and they needed to reschedule the hearing for December 6th. But other than that,
Okay. So, in that case,
I have a very small question about that, about this application. Do we want to raise that now or do we want to wait till the applicant's here? Probably. I mean, I could mention what it is. So the drawings and the language in all the application materials we've seen indicate that the tables would be on the sidewalk immediately in front of the entrance of the three restaurants. And you know, I guess it's just by virtue of dining in those places, I think there might be an understanding or maybe even intent for them to have the tables along the side of the location, which is A Pizza, which is kind of that driveway that takes you down into the back parking area. Really? And again, it could be just anecdotal. I mean, that might not be in sync with the landlord, but I would want to make sure the landlord's intent is also is the intent we're approving, which is to have them on the sidewalk in front and not in that drive area.
yeah, I don't see anything noted on the site plan about tables in the drive area.
Me neither. That's kind of the
But,
point. And it would just
yeah.
mean that if all of a sudden they appeared in that area and that area maybe got paved or something and created an outdoor seating area, that would not be approved under this.
Yeah,
approval.
yeah.
And so I just want to kind of flag that as something that it's ultimately a compliance issue because we're just approving 4 tables on the sidewalk in front of the restaurant.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's something that we could add to the resolution of approval as a specific condition or something.
We'll just confirm that the landlord has the same understanding we do, and then it would be fine.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. But I think for now, the only thing there is to do is to reschedule the public hearing. So could I have a motion to reschedule the public hearing to December 6th?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yeah, and I guess I should note that we are still waiting for comments from the Ulster County Planning Board as well on that one. So moving on to, I'm sorry, there is public comment at the end. We have one more application review. Okay, if it's very brief, yeah.
It's just in front of our pizza, but you know, we have a few addresses here.
No, it would be also in front of the restaurant next door to us. Yeah. So PB 22-18, 6810 Cooper Square. The applicant here. Cooper Street. Okay, we'll revise that.
I was like, Cooper Square, that's what
Of course. Fun after about 18 months of working on this. It's fun to finally be here.
Yeah, exciting. Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about what you're proposing here?
So I think Terry has some understanding of this from being a neighbor. But for some time, we've, the neighbors on Cooper Street, including myself, have been concerned about the lots that are down here adjacent to Village Arms, because this approved subdivision that is, I guess Anthony strangely called it Green Acres at some point. I've never liked that name. But those lots were developed from the top of the hill down to, are all of you familiar with that area behind town? Yeah. So those lots were developed from down the hill, and because the uphill ones are more desirable, right? More views and away from the density of Village Arms and so forth. But as you start to get down towards these, they're basically the least desirable lots in the whole neighborhood. So the owner of this, Anthony Abbey, and my partner in this, who built all of the homes in this net zero energy development, right, realized that he might just have to sell these. And the neighbors were really concerned that that could mean that stuff that is very different from the rest of the neighborhood, that doesn't have the same kind of environmental commitment of net zero energy homes, goes in there and so forth. So we started to brainstorm on what could possibly work there. We came up with this, ultimately came up with this idea of putting multifamily, something between the higher density of Village Arms and the single family homes of Cooper Street, something that would kind of step down, right? And so we came up with this idea of townhomes. So we started talking to the neighbors about this, and everybody was very excited about the fact that, in a sense, the neighborhood would kind of control its destiny there that way. And so the project was born. It started initially with more townhomes, like as many as 9 at one point, but after working with the neighbors a bit, we realized that maybe doing just 6 and 3 duplexes, which kind of look like more like a single family home, would be the most congruent with the rest of the neighborhood. And so that's what brought us to this. So think of it as stepping down from Village Arms into the single family home development that is the rest of the neighborhood.
So are there any other multifamily homes in the neighborhood?
No, other than Village Arms, which is immediately adjacent. Yeah.
Is it still, I
And-
think it's like 4 homes that are, that loop, I think of the loop is like when you go up.
Do you want Cooper Street?
Yeah.
Well, there are,
Last time I
yeah, there are, this is independently owned and is going to be developed at some point by the owner,
Yeah.
the one on the corner. And then there's the house, my house is here,
Right.
and there's this house, and then Terry's family son lives down here in the cul-de-sac, and there are 5 homes on the cul-de-sac, which is immediately adjacent to these 3 lots. Yeah. So the only other thing I'll say as a prelude to this is all of these lots they're a subdivision, right? So this is not greenfield, meaning we're not taking down trees, or these are lots that if you look at the picture, you know, these are just empty, ugly lots that have been awaiting something for, my goodness, 20 years, you know? And so we finally have an answer for that. And yeah, you can see the picture of the lots if you haven't been down there.
And the application is a single application to build a 2-family unit, a 2-family structure on 3 different lots.
That's right. It's actually being treated, remind me if I'm, keep me honest here. We had to pay the fees of 3 different applications to 3 different lots, but we're treating it for the sake of review as a single project.
makes sense. Right? It's easier to talk about them collectively than to come here 3 different times.
Are you gonna build them all at once, or are you gonna build them and sell them?
Well, we hope to build them all at once because that's how you get, to some extent, because that's how you get, that's how, a gassy dog, is that? We hope to, because you can do it more cheaply when you can do things all at once, right? Rather than,
It's also less annoying to the.
yeah, that's right. That's right. Particularly if you can do the site work all at once and so forth. And right now, as you probably know, building material costs are absolutely through the roof. So we're gonna have to do everything we can to try to contain that. So yes, we hope to gain those efficiencies by doing as much as we can at once.
Where are we in the, I see here, it says that the board of trustees is in the process of rezoning the property from R1 to R3. Where?
I think the final step is tomorrow night, right? The vote?
We have to schedule a public hearing, but it should be closed out before the end of the year.
Yes, it's already gone to also county planning board and to, I mean, a zillion places. Yeah. Mhm. That's right. And I should comment on that, while this would have been doable to still, I was unaware of this at the time, but it turns out that R1, which is this whole neighborhood, you can put duplexes in R1. But what the R3 does is it actually makes a better solution because you can have smaller setbacks. And when you look at the nature of multifamily housing, if you set a multifamily house way back, like 50 feet, like the rest of it just looks weird because you have these 2 driveways going a longer distance and so forth. So this allows us to move the structures closer to the road up to 25 feet. And buy more of a backyard because these are somewhat compressed lots. So it also gives us more of a backyard for privacy and so forth. Yeah.
And yeah, I was like setbacks and some of the other details around the position of the buildings on the property, et cetera, are one of the reasons I asked about whether it's a single application with 3, it seems to have to be treated uniquely. I actually don't know exactly the way we should treat it. Maybe we need some advice on that. Just in case there is a feature of one of the buildings and or its position on the lot that's unique to the others that we would have to be giving daily consideration for or given a variance for.
I'm not.
So I don't know if we can look at them collectively or if we have to look at them uniquely, but with the same pace and progress and process. I just want to put that out there and say we probably need what Ashley's opinion on that.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to Corey at length about this very thing, and he was working with. Is she here?
No, she's not.
About this very thing, and they agreed that this made the most sense to do. I mean, they can speak for themselves, but that's why I'm here presenting it this way, and it was passed to Autumn that way. The other thing to know is that there are no variances requested here. Everything here complies with the code, so there's no request there. Yeah.
Yeah, and Ashley did have a note about the seeker classification regarding constructing multiple 2-family homes. And she noted that seeker handbook said that building single, 2 or 3 family home on a few remaining lots should be a type 2 action.
What does that mean?
A type 2 action is a action that doesn't require a full seeker review.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
So I guess we have a couple of next steps that we can take. I guess I'll just go through a couple of the issues that she noted. The village engineer should review the proposed stormwater management facilities and sewer water connections, et cetera. I'm sure you're aware of that already. Site plan indicates the properties are proposed to be rezoned from R1 to R3. Can we just discuss that? Such an amendment will need to be in effect before the planning board can consider any approval, of course. Site plan needs a bulk table showing the bulk requirements and proposed conditions. Bulk table of the, showing bulk requirements, so like the R3 zoning requirements and, oh, like list the requirements.
It's all the data that
Yeah.
should go in that window over there.
And we will absolutely send this list to you as well. And site plan should contain a parking table showing the required and proposed number of spaces. Each lot will need 6 spaces, and such should be clearly shown on the plan, including an indication of the number of spaces in each garage. And finally, the Ulster County records indicate the current owner of the property is Alpencli Inc. Application needs to reflect the correct owner, and owner's endorsement needs to be signed by the authorized representative of the owner's corporation.
Yeah, Anthony, are you on the call? He is Alpenclay.
Yes,
The-
I'm on the call.
Yeah, you represent Alpenclay, right?
Yes.
They're wondering why, and you signed the.
I thought you gave me something to sign and notarize that I had Joe Canino notarize.
Yeah.
What was
so
that?
Maybe. Oh, just Ashley noted that the owner of the properties is Alpenclay, and then that wasn't clear, I guess. Anyway, he is Alpenclay.
Got it. Okay, yeah, maybe we could, or you just email her to clarify what the issue was.
Yeah.
It shows, the property statement shows Anthony's name,
I think it needs to stay out.
so it will need to say he's very, very out,
Okay. So were there any other questions or concerns from the board?
No, but we should have resolutions around a few things that we have to move on.
Yeah. So I would like to start by getting a motion to set escrow for this project at $2,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And next, I think could I get a motion to classify this application as a type 2 seeker?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much all we can do for right now, but looking forward to seeing you again soon.
Yeah, I'll just to plant a seed. The parking requirements are 6 in each lot, and there are 2. I guess she wants to see the slots drawn in the garage. There's 2 in the garage, and then 4 in the front.
Right.
And then, so 6 in each unit, we're aware of that. And then under stormwater, what we've done is all of the connections to there's a big retention pond right here for the whole neighborhood, and then there's sewage tie-ins, or I should call stormwater tie-ins from the neighborhood that goes here. And we're actually improving the conditions because we're grading. The roof is intentionally pitched to the street, as is the grading here. So you're bringing all of this water forward instead of down the hill away from the sewage, from the stormwater system. So, but anyway, we can speak at length about that. Should the engineer want to hear more?
And this
But it's
is
very
something
clear.
that you said at the beginning, but you've had, because obviously we've been through this before, but the public hearing, you've had communication with your neighbors.
Oh, yeah, they're all intimately involved in this. In fact, a number of the neighbors are future, yeah. So, yeah, no, we've been very close with them, and you'll be hearing from them. I know how it works.
So the suggestion would be that any of the changes, including the addition of the bulk table and the updates that we mentioned, would be done before given to the engineer.
Yeah, I think that would make sense. And yeah, I think by the next time that you're back here, the zoning changes should be approved by the village. And
Yeah, I mean, to me, there's the only dependency there is that by the time you approve it, we'll want to have the
the thing done, but I don't want to delay anything else because we've talked to Ashley about doing this in parallel for some time. So there's no issue there.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, good. I'll get those bulk requirements and the parking requirements listed on there like immediately.
And then
Awesome.
we can go to the vote then.
Yeah, and
So Autumn, you'll send me the, I mean, I think I wrote down everything, but just so that there's no, yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, is there something else?
I don't think so. I thought we, yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Guess the only other thing was, were there any comments online for people that wanted to make public comments?
We didn't receive any public service that we're aware of, except to say that, prior to the meeting, we received letters in favor of the, Aaron Norton, this is Becky Rose, Steve, and Paul, and Carol, Alan.
Yeah, great. All right. In that case, I'd like to get a motion to
So moved.
adjourn the meeting.
So moved. Second.